and change in our lives, and ultimately that empowers us to reach our greatest potential. And so I'm going to try to keep this to a 4-part series, but it may be longer because there's just so much to this. And as I talk with people, and even as I'm in the middle of some shifts and transitions in my own life, I believe that this is such an important topic that so many of us can relate to. And I believe it's the thing that is holding so many people back in their lives right now. And so I want you to just listen attentively. I want you to have your notepad or your journal or your notes app open and just get some insights that I believe can help you on your journey to change and embracing the person you were created and destined to be. And so the first pillar that we're going to deal with in this series on growing pains is dilemma. What do I mean by dilemma? First of all, one of the ways that we know that change needs to happen in our lives is there becomes this frustration with where we are and the mundane and the ordinary and the monotonous, repetitious cycle that is taking place in our lives. And so a lot of people will begin to say things like, there must be more, I'm frustrated, I can't pinpoint what it is, but there's an inner dissatisfaction with where they are in their lives and this awareness that something needs to change, even if we can't articulate it, even if we can't properly put it into words. There's something internally that is telling us that a change or a shift or a pivot needs to happen in our lives. And so I want to deal with this first pillar of dilemma for a while, because I don't know about you, but I know personally, anytime there's a shift or a major upgrade that is taking place in my life, I find myself in this place of dilemma. And the place of dilemma is what I call that war zone between where you are and where you truly want to be in your life. It is this middle ground that is one of the most frustrating places that you can ever be at in your life, because you know what is possible, but you also know that there is a price that you're going to have to pay to make progress and to embrace a new possibility in your life. But the problem is that often we don't know everything that is entailed in that process. And so the anxiety of everything that's going to go into producing that change in our lives is the very thing that paralyzes most people and prevents them from going forward. How do you know you're wrestling with this? Because you said you were going to accomplish a goal in 2015, and it's 2021, and the same goal is on your list. But instead of being able to smile and say, I've made progress on this goal, you begin to frown and look sad because you have not even taken an action on that goal in your life. This is how you know you're in a dilemma, because if this was important to you, you would execute and not make the excuses. If this was important to you, you would not just set the intention, but you would implement the strategy and the plan that would cause that thing to become a reality in your life. And so when I find myself in that middle ground or that place of where I am, where I want to be, but not really making progress, that's when I have to step back and begin to evaluate the thing that I really want in my life. And I think this is where we're going to really spend some time today, because I hear so many people say this, even leaders, I want to change this, I want to do this, I want to be here, I see myself on this stage and this platform making this impact in the world. And so the question that I begin to ask those individuals is, okay, you see that, but what steps are you taking right now that's going to bring you from where you are to where you want to be in your life? And what do most people tell me when I ask them that question? I don't know. While that may be good in the initial formation phases of change or growth or development in your life, you can't continue to say you don't know. At some point, you have to take the necessary steps to begin to move you from where you are to where you want to be. The reality is that even if you don't know all of the steps that you can take. There is some action you can take in the direction of your dream. And so I believe it was Martin Luther King that said, you don't have to see the entire staircase to take the first step. And so what step do you need to take right now that's going to move you out of this place of what I call just in between to a place of action and intentionality to make that thing that you're desiring to see move from a hope in your heart to a manifestation in your life? This is the dilemma that so many people are in their lives. They want change, but they are not willing to put in the work that it's going to take for change to happen in their lives. You don't just wake up one day and become successful. You don't just wake up one day and become influential in the world. If you want to be a person of influence and substance in the world, you have to, first of all, become a person of action. We have a lot of people that preach a lot of things that they never practice. They give messages on things that they never model with their lives. And so as leaders, as people of influence and significance in the world, we have to move from simply affirmation and declaration to action and demonstration. And so you have to begin to deal with this dilemma in your life, and you have to ask yourself this very important question: what do I really want? What I've discovered over the years is that most people are very skilled at articulating what they don't want. They're very skilled at articulating what's not working in their lives. They're very skilled at articulating what is frustrating or irritating them about their lives. But the thing that I have discovered over the years is that most people struggle with the ability to properly define and articulate what it is that they want. And what I have discovered over the years is that if you cannot articulate what you want, you will continue to attract what you don't want into your life. Write that down. If you cannot articulate and define and articulate what you want, you will continue to attract more of what you don't want into your life. And so what's happening is that people are getting excited about positive thinking and affirmation and live your best life and all of these sort of great messages. But the reality of it is that if you're going to really live your best life, you're going to have to, first of all, get clear about what it is that you really want. And so this is where a lot of people, when it comes to mentorship and advising from me, this is where I find the place of contention with so many leaders and people, because I begin to ask them this very important question, and that question is, what do you really want? And they'll begin to articulate to me, they want to be a person of power, they want to be a person of influence, they want to serve the world and contribute to the world through X, Y, and Z. I say, great, that's what you really want. And so what happens next is I begin to help them devise what I call a life strategy or a life plan around what they say they want. And then I begin to break this life plan down into increments where, in intervals, where at certain checkpoints they should have done ABC. And then those same people come back to me with what is supposed to be a progress report or an update on the progress that they've made. And I find that 90% of the people never started anything that we discussed or wrote down in that plan. And then I began to sit down with the person and I say, what is really going on? And many of them will give me a very puzzled or baffled look. They will look at me with this look of ambiguity as if they don't understand what I'm saying. And so I will begin to say it again. Okay, we established that this is what you wanted. You have not taken any action on what you said you want. So what is it that's really the thing that's going on with you? And what we discover is that we want a lot of things in desire, but we don't want that thing in discipline. Write it down. We want a lot of things in desire, but we don't want a lot of things in discipline. As somebody that has developed and helped to train leaders around the world, one of the biggest pain points for me in training and developing leaders has been in this area, because many people desire to do great things. They desire to have great influence and great impact in the world. But when it comes down to the disciplines that it's going to take